Hola, culés. How is everybody doing today? We have a special guest. We have a special live, and we have a
I think you cut out there for a sec, man.
All right, we're back. What are your thoughts on Nico Williams breaking to Barcelona, Garrett? What a special day, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Miguel. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is something that caught me by surprise because I think most of us could see that it seemed like Barcelona kind of lost interest in Nico and we're all in on Luis Diaz. And then all of a sudden, you send me this breaking story about Nico's agents in Deco. I'm completely shocked. I think for a different reason than we expect. I think we all knew that this would be a perfect signing. But due to all the stipulations, we didn't think it was feasible from him rejecting Barcelona last season to the higher wages, to the financial situation, and Diaz for 80 million. It didn't make sense, but I'm shocked and I'm super, super excited. And I hope they can make it happen. What do you think, Miguel?
No, man. Like honestly, dude, I couldn't believe it, and I'm. That's what I was saying. Like the only reason, look, Garrett is here with me because we were actually recording for his channel, and all of a sudden, dude, thank you for coming on the show because we have this major breaking. In my opinion, I am a happy dude. Like I've seen what Real Madrid has been doing. Like I've seen what they're trying to rebuild, trying to get a much better than last season, and this is a perfect answer. And I guess Nico Williams really wants to come to Barca because it says breaking. Nico Williams' agent has told Deco that the player is crazy to join Barcelona. This time he's not. He's ready to sign without asking for any guarantees. So this is very important because I remember that last season he was making a lot of demands to come to Barca, and was kind of the reason why it didn't happen. But at the end of the day, I do see this going in the right direction, especially for Deco, who let's be honest, he's done a much better job than we give him credit for. I think that Deco, like if he can close this deal, what are you think in terms of numbers? What his pricing should look like for Barcelona realistically?
I would like to see Barcelona get him for under the 58. I think if they could get him for 55 or less, that's a great deal. Now, the salary is an issue due to the financial issues Barcelona has. And I know we talked about this earlier. Nico it looks like he was asking for 15 to 20 million per season, which in my opinion is too much for a player that hasn't totally proven himself on the big stage. With that being said, I think if they can meet in the middle for 12 to 14, you have Longley who forewent his salary for Barcelona. That's what, 30 million?
Hmm.
And then I think if they can push Ter Stegen out, that's a lot of money they could save. And then Alex Baye, that's money they can save. If they sell Jared Martin, I mean, I know they would use that money for probably Grimaldo, but there's some things they can do to make this work. The new Camp Nou will be ready. More people will be visiting from all over the entire world. They're going to want to see the stadium. They're going to want to see Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams. Every single match we can expect to almost sell out. Merchandise will be insane. I think the money actually shouldn't be as big of a concern, I think, for these reasons. What are your thoughts on that?
Dude, I am Thanos apparently. Damn, Miguel, you're getting every Barca content creator, man. Like Thanos collecting all the stones. Guys, like the stream. I'm trying to do the best content. I'm trying to push every single Barca creator on this channel so we can all collaborate together. I'm gonna be doing a lot more stuff. So guys, please like the stream so more people can, find these videos and more people can find the stream. So if you guys can just smash the like button, comment your thoughts. But Lamine Yamal, What are you doing to me, bro? Lamine Yamal, what are you doing? You posted on Instagram. We better get Nico Williams because I am as excited as I've ever seen, as I've ever been, especially because, back, if I'm thinking like, okay, so last time I was this happy was probably Lewandowski. And Lewandowski, it's not even the kind of prospect that Nico Williams is. And Nico Williams, a 22-year-old player. Let's freaking go, Gary. What are your thoughts on just this whole thing that Lamine Yamal went on Instagram? It's like a thing for him now. Like we need to have like the notification bell activated on his Instagram post so we can get notified every time he posts something. It's something to talk about.
Lamine, he knows that he's like the best in the world, which I think it's getting to his head a little bit. He's got this crazy aura, the swag he's trying to bring out, and him and Nico in Spain, they know they're like a crazy duo. Bro better keep staying in his lane to an extent, but he knows what he's doing. He's trying to push this agenda. You know he wants this to happen more than anybody. And I think it makes I was like you. It was super exciting seeing Lewandowski join the club. One of the greatest strikers we'll ever see. Unfortunately, it was towards the end of his career. I think it was a different type of excitement. How long have we been waiting for Barcelona to make a real left winger signing? We've been waiting since 2017 Neymar. It's been almost 10 years since Barcelona has not had a true left winger, and it's right here. We can feel it. We can see it. How does this
Yeah.
team get stopped if they add Nico Williams and they have Raphinha and Lamine Yamal, Pedri, a healthy Olmo, Gavi, Frankie, Casado, Bernal? How does this team get stopped?
No, dude, this is the thing. That's what I'm saying. So what would we do? What would Barca do? Because I think that if we can, this is what, like I was telling you on your show, it's like this is where the Grimaldo numbers, come to fruition. Because if we can sign Nico Williams for anywhere to 14 to 16 mil, and that's somehow the same wages we're supposed to pay Lenglet, so that frees up all that roster, the fair play roster numbers, right? So in terms of the numbers, Barcelona is very well in place to be able to sign 4 to 5 year deal at a minute. I would say probably around 12 to 14. And I think this is more than doable for Barca now because Barcelona, dude, like if we can get Nico on the left, we can have Lamine on the right, and we can have Raphinha as either a number 10, or would you rather him having as a, I would say, probably like a false nine or like a nine? What would be your ideal situation if we have to plug in Nico Williams on the left?
It's a really tough question because I love the player that Olmo is. If we can look past the injury and a little bit of the inconsistencies, but I think we have to give him the benefit of the doubt. When you had some injuries, new club, and he also was dealing with the registration issues where he couldn't play off and on throughout the season. That can mess with your head, your confidence. So if he is 100% fit and healthy, it's hard for me to say put someone else there, but I love him at the number 9 position. You want to know why? Because he does everything Lewandowski does not do. He makes runs, he presses, he can support, he can drop deep. I love it. We see how many times throughout the season Raphinha would be playing on the left and would drift over to the center. He would even drift over to the right, and it just caused so much havoc. Does anyone else remember? I don't remember who was against, but Raphinha drifts into the center of the pitch, gets the ball, step over, shoots with his right foot, far post, lower corner. Beautiful goal, right? The
Mhm.
way he moves, it changes the defense. I would like to see Raphinha more as a striker than as the number 10 if Olmo is healthy.
Honestly, bro, like if we think about it, like there was some times where Rafinha, uh, he wasn't having a great game, but every time he got moved to the middle, or even if he got moved to the right as a right winger and kind of switched up with Lamine, you can see a different type of Rafinha. And the way to me is like the way I think of the Nico Williams signing, honestly, is I think it'll like this: is Real Madrid more worried about now that we have this kind of player? And my answer would be yes. It's just like the same thing with like all the look at Real Madrid. Every single player that has gone for Real Madrid, they have been great signing for the last couple of years. I remember when they got Bellingham, I was like, man, that Bellingham, that's a great move. When they got even Chouameni, when they got Mbappe, right? We all thought like even this guy, the A skills, right? He's like, when if Mbappe lands Madrid, right, and he got a lot of pushback for it, but at the end of the day, like Mbappe, it's an outstanding talent. And when they got Mbappe, it definitely made Real Madrid better. And this year, Real Madrid wouldn't have this kind of season that they had. It wouldn't even be close had it not been for Mbappe getting that golden boot. So I think that this is a scary move from the Real Madrid standpoint, which makes it a great signing for Barca.
So I have a question because I see there's some Madridistas in the chat.
A lot of Madridistas coming from my man Football Carnage because he redirect the stream to here. Guys, like the stream, even if you're a Real Madrid fan, because we're trying to get to more people.
We don't need to hate on each other. There's a rivalry, but we're just talking. But I got a question though. So with Trent being signed to Madrid, if Dani Carvajal is 100% fit after his big injury, who's going to start? Because Dani Carvajal is a way better defender than Trent. Oh, I think our boy's frozen for a sec. So in the chat, what do you guys think? Does Real Madrid, if they have 100% fit Dani Carvajal, who starts, him or Trent? I think so too. At center back 3. NJ, what's going on, brother?
Sorry, we were cut off there for a second.
Yeah, you got cut. So yeah, I was asking the chat, with a healthy Carvajal and the addition of Trent, who starts at right back for Real Madrid?
No, definitely gonna be Trent, because that kind of price tag, I think it's too much for him to leaving on the bench. And also, like, if you think about it, like, he's coming off a big injury. He hasn't played for a whole year. So I definitely, Trent is going to be the guy going forward. There's no way in hell. There's no way in hell that Carvajal will get the starting job.
That's good for Nico then, because Nico will have a field day against Trent.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point, because I think this is a terrible matchup for Trent Alexander-Arnold if we're gonna have somebody like Nico Williams, because a better defender like Carvajal would have a much better matchup against Nico Williams than Trent Alexander-Arnold. So at the end of the day, it's like what Barca's going to do is they're going to counter the Trent Alexander-Arnold by signing a guy like Nico Williams. To me, this is why all the Barca fans, we wanted Nico Williams. We were so stressed. We were so angry that this organization was going after Luis Diaz. But guys, before I keep going, please like this stream. Please subscribe to my man Garrett. Please subscribe to channel for all the Barcelona content. And hey, sometimes we talk Real Madrid too. I know there's a lot of Real Madrid fans out there right now watching the stream. So guys, even if you're a Madrid fan, please like the stream. It's all in good fun, right?
Yeah, it's all fun. And that's Barca Reacts has a good point. Balde will definitely improve, and it will help Barcelona that much more. Him with Nico on that left-hand side will be very, very tough. With the speed of both of them is a very, very tough combination.
Exactly. So that's my thing. That's what I was saying. Like the Barcelona can be so much different if we can have if we can just rotate it. If we have Lamine, if we have Nico, if we have Raphinha, even if we have Lewandowski, then we still have Ferran. We haven't talked about Ferran. What are your thoughts about Ferran? What his role could be now that Nico Williams will be a Barca? If it ends up happening.
You know what? I've grown to like Ferran Torres more and more, because he's a player that he just plays where the club needs him to play. And we saw him step in this season where Lewandowski was injured or he just played, and he scored some big goals for the club, right? Copa del Rey final, scores the tying goal, scores against Dortmund to win the match. He was a very important player. And again, he gives you something that Lewandowski doesn't. He's more skilled at this point in his career. He makes runs. And ultimately, I think here's my take. I think it would be very shocking for a player to not succeed in this Flick system. I would be shocked if Barcelona signed Nico or Luis Diaz and it didn't work out. I would be shocked. It's the system for good players. You will thrive under the system if you put in the work.
No, honestly, I think that Nico Williams, because a lot of people have saying that he's trash, he's not that good, he's not that great. But if you think about it, it's like the better the talent around you, the better you are.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, and people don't realize and say that, well, how come Nico Williams is so good with Spain all of a sudden? Well,
Pedri, Rodri, Lamine Yamal, like...
Yeah,
Fabian Ruiz, Gavi. I mean,
Athletic Club, he doesn't have the same talent. So of
no.
course, and he still shined, and he still does a great job. They had a deep run this year what was that? It's at the national, the UEFA. It was actually against, they lost to Manchester United. So they had a deep run. I think they made it to the semifinals. So at the end of the day, like he's still showing up and showing off, and he's been wanting to play with his brother for the longest time. But now it's time to move on. It's time to take it to the next level. And dude, it's like having him next season. I don't even know where to begin. And we still could get even better because we don't have a natural number nine like a Holland. We don't have like Julian Alvarez or somebody like that. And that's that's so awesome if this could happen. This could be a historic transfer window for Barcelona because it seems like all the stars have aligned and we finally have all the signings that we've been waiting and that everybody wanted. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, it's exactly what I would say 90% of my comments on my videos. They want Nico because when we look at the five options, right? Nico Williams, Rafael Leao, Marcus Rashford, Luis Diaz, and Lookman. They all have good and bad. Luis Diaz is the most expensive and the oldest and doesn't score many goals. So realistically, he should probably be at the end of the list. But then we have Marcus Rashford, who's a little older. You could probably get him for 30 million. Super cheap, super talented, but very inconsistent. Lookman
Yeah.
never really played at the highest level, but again, kind of like Nico. He
Yeah.
hasn't been surrounded with world-class talent.
Yeah.
And Rafael Leao is probably the most talented and gifted, but the big concern is the price tag, and he's lazy at
And he's
times.
inconsistent.
Exactly.
To me, the perfect signing was Lookman because Lookman was the player that we didn't have to make any movements around the starting 11, and he could be that player that could be that X factor in the second half of games. And I think that would have been to me the easiest thing to do is to plug in a player like that. But what would you say to you're gonna be shocked if Nico isn't that good? Don't be shocked. And what would you say to this comment right here? I'm very interested. It says Franco will have a field day with Valde. What would you say to that?
Uh,
Like
you
Franco
mean
Mastantuno, the new kid that come in for Real Madrid, the Argentine 17-year-old player that just signed for Real Madrid for 40 million plus 20 million in add-ons. So ultimately could cost Real Madrid 60 million euros.
well, I haven't followed him that much. I don't know exactly, but in terms of the Nico won't be as good as we think comment, I think again, how would he not be good in the Flick system? That's my question to you. What will he not? Because we know he's fantastic. He's a fantastic dribbler. He can score. He can play in tight spaces. He's very fast. What wouldn't work? That's what I don't understand. Like it's an actual question because Raphinha had a Ballon d'Or caliber season, and before the season, he was a good player. He was okay. Like he's not bad, but he's not great. Now he's world class. And then
Hmm.
we can attribute that to Flick. And we have a player that's arguably better than Raphinha from a footballing standpoint, tactically, dribbling, technical. He's better than Raphinha, and he's younger than Raphinha. So I don't understand how that wouldn't come to fruition.
And to me, it's like I'm surprised that it's okay. Like a lot of Real Madrid fans will say that, right? Just in hopes that he's not going to work. But it's surprising how many Barcelona fans don't think that he's a good fit. Like we have seen that the same system. With Pedri Gonzalez, right? With Lamine Yamal, with Nico Williams playing for Spain, and how unstoppable that duo looks. And to me, I'm gonna be honest, it's not just about Nico. It's the fact that we have that X factor, having Nico on the left and having Lamine Yamal on the right. That's something that we were missing in that Inter Milan game. And even after that, we still had a chance to win it with 90 seconds. Dude, I never got your thoughts. That's a big moment for Barca. How did you handle that loss for 90 seconds before making it to the final after 10 freaking years, dude? We could not defend in the last moments of that game.
I actually, at the 60th, 70th minute, I had to leave and I had to go out to dinner. And I was watching on my phone. I get to the restaurant and we score to end up taking the lead. I don't remember who scored. and I'm sitting
In
there
which moment? In which moment?
in
That
the
that
second leg where we took the lead.
oh, that's Raphinha. That was
Raphinha.
Raphinha's goal.
When
The
Inter
3-2, right?
Milan,
The
yep,
3-2.
when Inter
Yeah.
Milan scored the tying goal, I was out with probably 8, 9 people. I didn't say a word the rest of the night. I knew as soon as Inter scored, I was like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
it's over." Like they have all the momentum. They're at home. I don't trust Arujo in those moments. I'm like, "Fuck." And then
Yeah.
I was for the next 2, 3 days, I was butthurt.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. I've the this was not definitely. I don't think it was the toughest loss I've ever had to absorb as a Barca fan.
Liverpool.
But to me, it wasn't even Liverpool. You know, the loss that really broke me as a fan was the Roma, bro. I couldn't believe
Oh
that
my god, I
we
forgot
had
about
done
that.
it again against Roma. You know, I actually stopped. I've watched Barca for more than 30 years. I stopped watching Barca for a long, like I was at least 6 months. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't care less. I'm like, I think I almost missed half of Messi's season where he scored like 90 plus goals, and it was all due to that Roma BS and the way that we lost to that. I think that was incredibly ridiculously bad, and Roma could have scored even more goals after after they came back on Barca.
What year
And
was that?
I think that must have been 2018 where
Yeah, I
we
think it was
lost to.
18.
It was somewhere around. It was somewhere around then. But yeah, what do you think, Ferran? Let's do a hypothetical. Let's say that we did sign Nico Williams. Where do we go with Ferran? What are we gonna do with him? What is he gonna go? I know he's a number 9, but what are your thoughts on Ferran Torres?
Wow, I mean, I know Barcelona's not into changing formations, but they could run a 4-4-2 with Lamine and Nico at the wings and Raphinha and Ferran Torres up top.
Yeah, yeah. Because all I'm saying is that is Ferran Torres going to? That's my biggest question for next season. Because Ferran Torres had an incredible season, but he hasn't proven that he can be that consistent player. Does he have it next season, in your opinion, to kind of take that next step and have that starting number 9 role?
You know, I'm gonna go back to NJ right here in the comments, the most recent one. It sucks that he's at Barcelona because he's the type of player on most teams where he would start and play a lot and get more recognition. I
Mm-hmm.
think his issue now is I almost think it makes it worse for him because the club has some sort of fixation on Lewandowski. No matter what he does, he's going to play. He's going to start. And then if you put Nico Williams on the left wing and Dani Olmo is starting, Rafinha's, I think, the next best option. So I almost think it pushes Ferran Torres back a step.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure what we can expect from him next season because he's coming off a good season, but with an addition, I don't know. Do you think it hurts his playtime?
I definitely think that it does hurt his play time. I think having Nico Williams does take away a little bit what Ferran Torres, because I know we had him on the left a few times. I know we had him as a number 9 because every time that Lewandowski would rest or he was either injured or resting, we would play him. But I do think that it's going to be a problem for Ferran Torres, especially next season, because we all know the kind of connection that Hansi Flick, and Hansi Flick, it's a very the type of coach that he likes to believe in his players, and when he likes a player, he'll stick to it. And he did the same thing when Chesney, that saga they had with Peña, and how Peña basically got into the he sent him to the doghouse. I don't know why, but he even stopped playing even for the Copa del Rey. So in my opinion, I think as long as Lewandowski is wearing that number 9 shirt, I think he's going to be starting every game. What do you think?
Yeah, he 100% is. I actually have a video that I'm dropping tomorrow about this entire concept with the number 9 position, what the future looks like. And I think as long as he's here, he's going to play. He has a little bit of an ego, and I think he knows that he's one of the better strikers we've ever seen. And he plays into that. And I think as long as he's here, he's going to be starting.
Yeah, that's the thing with me. So I want to get your thoughts because I haven't spoken to you. Give me your thoughts on John Garcia joining Barcelona, because I know today I guess it's today is the day where Barcelona paid the release clause. Fabrizio Romano posted it. I'm going to show it on the screen. And it says, plans confirmed. Barcelona have activated and paid the 25 million release clause for John Garcia. Official statement to follow next. And here we go, confirm. What are your thoughts on this kind of player for Barca coming up? He's the first one this season.
First signing, and I think it's so interesting too because they signed. I think they extended Chesney before they even officially signed Joan Garcia. And I'm gonna look at this comment too about Barca chasing Ter Stegen away because I have a couple comments on this whole situation. I do think they are being a little not disrespectful, but it's a little crazy the way they're treating Ter Stegen right now. And I
Mm-hmm.
would have assumed, my personal opinion, they needed to sign this, right? They needed to sign Joan Garcia. They needed to sign a keeper because Ter Stegen has been a little questionable. His fitness has been a little questionable. He gets too comfortable playing out of the back at times. He's getting older. And I think before signing Chesney, it was an absolute must. But I would have assumed that they would have signed him, kept Ter Stegen, and they would play those two, and Chesney would have been out back into retirement. Now it seems a little weird that they're kind of pushing Ter Stegen out and keeping Chesney. I don't know. I think from a loyalty standpoint, little concerned there. But I think from everything I've seen, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't follow the keepers as much. He faced the most shots in La Liga this season.
John Garcia did.
Yes, and he
Yeah.
had one of the best saved ratios,
He had the
correct?
most saves and the most interception crosses, which to me is a big deal because Barca has a ton of problems with those crosses down to the middle of the box. We never knew how to defend them. And the
Never.
fact that he led the league in interception crosses is very decisive. He's very confident. He knows when to stay, when to. He's good on one-on-ones. He's an outstanding. I could not believe it. And I actually, the fact that you said that about Ter Stegen, I was going to bring him up as well. And to me, my issue with Ter Stegen is his sense of entitlement. And I think that it's one of the reasons why we are where we are. And we're about to go into a huge war with him because the report that came out was that Barca, behind closed doors, they offer him a termination of his contract to his agent in exchange for 1 year's worth of salaries. So Ter Stegen got offered from Barca, from Deco, a year's worth of salary. So next year paid by Barca, and then in exchange for terminating his contract. And I guess the answer was there's no way, and we are staying here and we are playing through the contract. So there's a lot of friction right now, and that stuff that came out from that video that resurfaced about Laporta and Flick, talking about how Ter Stegen wouldn't come out to the team and address the fans as a captain on that celebration day. To me, that really upset me as a fan. It upset me as a someone who is coming as a captain for this team. And honestly, bro, like if we talk about that alone, it's a good enough reason for Flick to say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this guy because he's the sense of entitlement that he has. He's gonna want to start over this guy, even over John Garcia, even if John Garcia is better than him. That story also that came out, Gary, that the agent for Ter Stegen went to Deco and said that he wanted Ter Stegen wanted to be registered for that semifinal for the Inter Milan game. To me, that was insane.
Yeah, that was. When I read that too, I was super shocked. And I think we could even see I see it sometimes a little bit even on the Madrid side. There's a lot of ego, right? You have Vinicius and you have Bellingham and you have Mbappe. Everyone wants to be the number one. And I know it's a little different with the keeper, but we already have a little bit of an ego issue with Lewandowski. You don't need any more. We're building a team. We need chemistry. This is a team, this Barcelona squad, that realistically you have Lamine Yamal. If they sign Nico, you can have him, Pedri, Gavi, Casado, Bernal, Balde, Cabarsi, Hector Fort. You could have 9 players, and I'm probably missing some, that could be together for 10 years, plus Frankie de Jong for a couple more seasons. If Arujo stays with the club for a couple more seasons, 5 seasons, you have Raphinha that can be at the club for a while. This team, if they don't win at least 2 Champions Leagues together, is a massive failure.
No, yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. If we talk about, look, there's a reason why Real Madrid is doing what they're doing. They overspending. they are like right now they already like upwards of 1.2 million, and they just signed Trent, they just signed Dinhausen, they just signed Mastantuno kid. I've seen highlights of him. He looks like he's a stud. He's a 17-year-old player, so he's nowhere near his prime, and they're already selling it like it's better than Lamine Yamal, which is so ridiculous. If you go, you just have to go on X and look at what people are saying about him. It's absolutely insane. Like comparing him to Lamine is it's ridiculous. Like he's not even a starter for Argentina. Lamine Yamal is a starter for Argentina. Lamine Yamal starts for Barca.
The Madrid PR goes overtime, and we saw it
It's
for Bellingham last year.
so way over the top. It's ridiculous, bro.
But the thing is with Madrid, though, they know how to build a project. They know how to
Mhm.
spend. They know, and I think being Madrid, it comes with a lot of, you get a lot of privilege being that. No one else is going to get Mbappe on a free transfer. You're not going to get these other players on frees like that because it's Madrid. They draw the best players in the world, so they do it right. Don't get me wrong, but in speaking with Madrid, because I haven't heard as much the last week or two, but there's been a lot of question marks surrounding Rodrigo and his future. Do you see him
Mhm.
having a future at Madrid? Do you think him staying, leaving? And in the chat, what do you guys think? And if there are Madrid fans in here, what does his future look like at Madrid?
Yo, that's insane. I posted a video on this kid Mastantuno, right? And this the kind of signing that he is and the kind of prospect that he is going to be for Real Madrid. And honestly, I think when I made the video is thinking that Rodrigo was going to leave Real Madrid, because that's kind of what I've been hearing is that he was going to Arsenal, he was maybe he was going to Chelsea, and I was like, okay, so that makes sense.
Chelsea.
So they'll have a kid, a winger on the right who literally can play on the right, and at times, he can do a lot more than Rodrigo. He's a player who can run the field a lot better than Rodrigo. He's much more defensive player than what Rodrigo can do. But from what I've seen from him, I thought it was a great signing. But the fact that the story came out, I think a day later after I made that video, that Rodrigo is in fact staying and that he's very well within the plans of Xavi Alonso. So now I'm like, wait a minute. So now they have Mastantuno, now they have this Rodrigo, now they have Vinicius, they have Mbappe, like
Endrick.
they have Endrick, and they're supposed to be developing this player. They don't want to send him on a loan. He's going to be a big problem. Like he was okay with not playing last season, but this season coming up, he's going to be upset if it
You
doesn't
talking
get
about
more
Endrick?
minutes. I'm talking about Endrick. So
Yeah.
now they have the Endrick saga as well. So they're just keep adding on players. At the end of the day, you can only start 11, man. That's
Yeah,
all I'm
I've
saying.
been thinking a lot about Endrick recently because I thought it was, don't get me wrong, when you have the potential to sign or when you have the ability to sign a potential, maybe a next superstar, I think you should do it. But then you sign Mbappe, arguably the best in the world, the best attacking player in the world, at least, who's going to be in the same position. Mbappe is going to be stuck at that number 9 role for his entire career now.
Yeah.
What happens with Endrick? Because honestly, like he's never touching the pitch over Mbappe. So does he go on loan for 2 seasons? Does Real Madrid run Mbappe on the left, Vinicius on the right, and Endrick at number 9 in a year or two? I don't know what they do, to be completely honest, because he doesn't play in big matches either.
I need a Real Madrid content creator to explain to me why Real Madrid has an ability to spend unlimited amounts of money every season, where Barcelona is always struggling to register players. Like to me, that's so baffling. The fact that they're already spending by the time this windows is it's all said and done, Real Madrid is going to be well over 1.5 billion, dude. That's insane to me. Like, especially after you sign Mbappe, who was supposed to be the missing piece that was going to take you to dominate Spain. And instead, it's Barcelona who takes it as the youngest team to ever win La Liga in 25 years. This is why Real Madrid is doing what they're doing, bro. This is why Real Madrid is on rebuild mode after they had a complete team of just complete studs all over the place. And now they're rebuilding. Why? Because they're panicking because Barcelona just won La Liga as the youngest team in 25 years, bro.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I will say too, I want to give Madrid a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because people are like, "Oh, Madrid was shit this year." Well, they were 4 points behind Barcelona in La Liga. And you got to think, Alba was injured. Alaba was injured. Rudiger had some injuries. Carvajal injured. They lost Tony Kroos, right? You have to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. And they still were only 4 points behind Barcelona in La Liga. Now, granted, Barcelona shit the bed at the end of the first part of the season. End of 2024, Barcelona went from 12 out of 10 to 2 out of 10. A couple of
Hmm.
those matches, Atletico Madrid blew it. What was the match where Barca lost? Was it Sociedad? When Lewandowski scores, it gets, they called a foul or something.
Hmm.
Barcelona, they kind of had a couple bad droughts for a couple weeks and they did not look good. Um, they're a little lucky, but Madrid, you got to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. I'm interested to see if they'll be much better next season. Um, I feel like they will be. They'll be a little more healthy. My take is that they'll probably win the Club World Cup. Um,
Yeah, dude.
I
More news are resurfacing as we're making this show, bro. This is crazy. I've never had this happen. Look, so it says, okay, so there's something about Hansi Flick here. Hold on. It says, wait, where is it? It's something about Hansi Flick. Let me just go to Rashad real quick because this is really important. So look, it says Hansi Flick and Nico Williams have already spoken. The coach has explained his project to the winger, and it says Nico Williams is ready to accept the salary which Barcelona offered him last year of 12 million,
wow.
and it says 6.3 net. Okay, so this is basically along the lines of Nico Williams just being really desperate to play for Barca next season, bro. I'm not gonna lie. If it comes for 12 million, dude, that's a steal of the century. I don't know. I think that Nico Williams was asking Bayern 20 mil.
It was 20.
Dude, dude, Bartomeu gave Lenglet 60 millions per season, bro. This was how bad Barcelona was run just 5 years ago. And if we can get Nico, dude, there's no ifs and buts, bro. Like if we can get from what I'm seeing, like he's gonna be really, he wants to give Barca like a team friendly deal because if he's 6.3 net, dude, you gotta sign that guy, man.
Him and Lamine
6.3, that's
Yamal
a joke,
they
man.
will
That is
terrorize
a
this
freaking
world.
joke, dude. I'm so shocked right now. I can't believe this. I
I
can't
just
believe.
I just want to know what Raphinha is actually thinking though, because we all do feel for Raphinha. What's going through Raphinha's mind right now after he potentially could still win the Ballon d'Or, and someone's going to come in and take his spot.
I'm assuming, to be quite honest with you, I'm assuming that if we're getting to the point where Hansi Flick has spoken with Nico, I'm thinking that Hansi Flick had to have spoken with Raphinha before he spoke with Nico Williams because otherwise it wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
That's the only way it would make sense to me. Like if Nico Williams, if Hansi Flick already spoke to Raphinha, probably what his role is going to be on the team. There's no way. Look, this is why I hated the Luis Diaz signing for Barca because I stand by if it's not broken, don't fix it type of mindset. Like if something is not broken, I would say just keep doing what you're doing. And there is that kind of sense with Barca right now with Raphinha, who had an outstanding, arguably a Ballon d'Or type of season. But at the same time, the fact that Nico is so young makes this move okay to me because I think that even if we have to make some moves, this is why it wouldn't make any sense to do Luis Diaz because Luis Diaz is too old. Why are you trying to make changes on your starting 11 for a 20-year-old player? No, you want to do it for somebody who's younger and maybe plug in Rafinha as a. I think Rafinha as a false nine. Dude, somebody is going to have to stop this Barca team, and it's not going to be Real Madrid.
But what I also do love about this too is Nico will play on the left, assuming this happens. Lewandowski up top, Ferran Torres. You can finally give Lamine Yamal rest and play Raphinha in his natural, comfortable position on that right wing because he's the best in the world, arguably Lamine Yamal. but he's not even 18 yet. This kid
Exactly.
needs to rest, and World Cup is coming. Him and he wants to stay healthy. You need him healthy. This in that sense makes a lot of sense too.
Exactly, dude. I to me, I just don't see how Barcelona will pass on Nico Williams, and this is Deco's not going to get any credit for this, but the fact that they leaked this whole time, dude, they leaked that they were going for Luis Diaz. Did that make Nico desperate to go for Barca?
Your audio cut out there for a sec. Could you repeat that?
Yeah. So like the fact that Deco is not going to get credit for this because if let's say Barca, right? So if they leaked it that they were going for Luis Diaz, so did that make Nico Williams thinking that he wasn't going to play for Barca, and now he's trying to push a move under more of a friendly deal for Barca? Because if it had Deco gone after Nico and said we're desperate for Nico would have demanded his full contract, his full asking money, which was 20 mil.
Maybe this was all because up until today, it seemed like they were all in on Luis Diaz. So maybe this was a little bit of a game plan from Barcelona to try and confuse Nico and say, hey, we don't need you, we don't want you, which in reality they really didn't. It's just a lot more beneficial. I think he has to realize, Nico, that again, like you said earlier in the stream, he's on a very average team. They're one of the better teams in Spain, but he's not playing with world-class talent. He's the best player on their team, basically. So when he comes to a team with world-class players across the pitch, when he's under Hansi Flick, he's really going to take that next step in his career. He could score 15 goals for Barcelona next season, and that's being realistic, right? He's going to, in its World Cup season, he's going to be able to play with Lamine, with Pedri, Gavi, Olmo, Balde, Kubarsi. He's going to be able to play on the same pitch with almost all his starting teammates in Spain. If you want to win the Champions League, if you want to win the World Cup, if you want to have a chance to win a Ballon d'Or, this is where you go to do it. You take your next step by going to Real Madrid, by going to Barcelona, by going to these clubs. You don't do it by staying put or going to Chelsea or something ridiculous like that. Even Bayern Munich. I don't think Bayern Munich's going to be a winning project moving forward. I think they're slowly on the decline. I don't think they're as good as they used to be.
Yeah.
So this is the perfect move for Nico Williams.
Do you agree with this comment? It says Flick wants Raphinha at the cam behind Lewandowski, Williams and Yamal on the wings. Does that sound like a plan to you?
Yeah, it could. I think it's a good plan. I have a problem with. I have a soft spot for very technical players like Dani Olmo and like even Bernardo Silva that are just magical on the ball and that can play in that position. And Raphinha is not like that. And in that position, it does make it a lot more advantageous and you're a lot more successful being very skilled. I think in the counterattack, Raphinha will be unstoppable in that position. But when Barcelona is trying to control the match, when they're possessing in the final third, I got to see it more consistently, I think, to make a better judgment call. Because there's just been moments this season in tight spaces inside the box. Dani Olmo has just been world class, and it's just a really tough call, honestly. Unless Barcelona wants to do something ridiculous like what Manchester City did the last few seasons with Haaland up top, and then they have Foden, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Doku. They run like 4 or 5 players, like almost 4 attacking players, and then Rodri sits back beneath them, where we would have maybe Frankie de Jong play, and you would have like Pedri, Olmo. I don't know. There's a lot you can do. I really don't know, to be completely
Yeah.
honest. I have no
So
idea.
I've added Barca Reacts. Jonas, I sent the link to the guys, and he
Hey,
joined
Giga,
in, man. What's up, man? What are your thoughts right now, Nico Williams to Barca? What's the deal, bro?
you know, it's crazy, bro. You guys could see that I was legitimately watching the live stream. I was in the chat, right? You know what I'm saying? To
Yeah.
debate with the Real Madrid fans who all just came in. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just coming to the chat saying Holland Madrid. Nah, less of that. But legitimately, bro, I was recording a video. You sent me the link. And when I woke up to the Nico Williams rumors, bro, I was surprised. That's what I would say. Obviously, I'm more happy because I'm of I'm a fan who I just want Barca to get a left winger because I believe that whichever left winger we get is going to do well. I truly believe that. I think even the fans that are against Diaz, I think Diaz cooks under Hansi Flick. I think Nico Williams cooks under Hansi Flick. I think Marcus Rashford.
Everybody will cook under our boy
It
Flick.
doesn't matter. Guys, think about it. Actually think about it. Like logically, the four attackers that played the most under Hansi Flick. Lamine Yamal, great season. Lewandowski, amazing season, right? We thought he was washed, right? Raphinha, the guy legitimately times forward his GA, bro, times 4. And same with Ferran Torres, who I don't rate. I didn't rate 2 of these guys. I thought Lewandowski was washed. And Hansi Flick is working his magic. So I think whoever we get is going to do good. I truly believe that. So I'm happy with the rumors regardless, man.
Yeah, facts. It'd be I would think it's almost impossible for someone to not succeed under this system.
It's going to be hard. Like you have to be pretty bad or you have to get injured. Something weird has to happen, you know?
So Garrett, so what do you say? So Dani Olmo should start as a false 9 again. I'm not gonna lie. I remember a couple times where Flick didn't want to keep going for it. He tried it like 2 times last season, and for whatever reason, he stopped doing that. And in my opinion, he should have tried it more times, especially up against those low blocks in La Liga game after game after game. But what are your thoughts on Dani Olmo's a false 9? I kind of wanted to see what you're thinking on that.
I love it, and I'll tell you why I love it too, because we saw the season prior Real Madrid ran that same formation with Bellingham playing as that basically deep false 9, high 10, and they won the Champions League. Right? I love it. I think it could work really well, and it gives Lamine and whoever's playing the left, Nico, Raphinha, more space to run on into, and it just gives Dani Olmo. Here's the thing. I think the key with Barcelona, when Dani Olmo's on the pitch, when they start their attack through him, it's almost impossible to stop. Something happened mid-season where they stopped doing that or he lost confidence. But if you watch a lot of the highlights from the first half of the season, every single counterattack started through Dani Olmo, and it almost seemed like we were going to score every single time. So I love him in that role.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's great, but that was my point. Like, I wonder why Flick didn't do that more and just didn't keep trying that. And honestly, so like, would you rather have Olmo as a number 9 rather than Raphinha? And why would Raphinha play the number 10? So, in my opinion, I think Dani Olmo is a better number 10 than Raphinha, and Raphinha could be a much better striker. I know this is going to be crazy next season because I don't think there's a way that Hansi Flick will remove Lewandowski from the starting 11, but ultimately, I think that's exactly what should happen. What are you guys' thoughts on Lewandowski? Like, if we get Nico Lewandowski next season, should be basically maybe in the second half. I don't know.
They're going to have to do some experimentation because I think it's his last year, and they're going to have to see what can life look like at Barcelona without Lewandowski. So playing Raphinha as a number 9, Olmo at cam would be my first choice.
Okay, hold up. I got a question. If Nico comes to Barca, is he starting? I know it sounds crazy, but Raphinha on the left is amazing. The question is really, who do you start? It's Nico or Dani Olmo. Like that's
Yep,
really
you're 100% right. And I think it's whoever Flick sees more fit. If Olmo's not fit, he's not playing. But that's what my thing is with Nico. Raphinha is going from almost winning the Ballon d'Or to potentially he might not even start this season if Nico comes in.
I don't know. That just can't happen. I feel like that's kind of crazy. For a guy who's been very clinical, I think realistically it's Dani Olmo against a low block. And I guess it's Nico Williams. I mean, if it's any other team, like if we play a Getafe, give me Dani Olmo. But like if it's a different scenario, I would play probably Nico. I do want to see, because apparently the reports are strong that Raphinha is going to be the 10 and Nico Williams is going to be the left winger. I don't know how it's going to work out, to be honest. Like I don't know.
I think it would be crazy to think that Nico Williams is coming to play on the bench. I think that kind of player, that kind of difference maker, like that's the thing with me, because let's say that he's coming on the second half, right? So if he's coming on the second half, does that mean that Raphinha is only playing for a half? Because that's the biggest thing here.
I almost want to see them bench Lewandowski and play Raphinha as the 9, Olmo as cam, Nico on the left, because you have so much pace at that point. Yep. And Lewandowski, it's time for him to move on. I know they have some sort of like affection for him, which I get it. He scores goals, but Anybody in this team as a number 9 will score you 20 goals if they're playing 80% of the season. It's a fact.
Mhm.
So they're going to have to experiment. And I think if they want to sign a number 9 next season, maybe they don't even have to. If Raphinha and Ferran Torres work well, you have 2 good players you can rotate there.
I got something to say about that. That is a great comment because I noticed how I was speaking about who starts Danny Olmo and Nico Williams. You know what? Not having, you know what I'm saying? I feel like the 2 bona fide starters should be Lamine Yamal and Raphinha. Lewandowski, I feel like the guy is going to be 37 in 2 months in August, right? I don't think he can start even the games that he started this year, and he was on the bench a lot this year. Ferran started a lot. I do want to see us going the PSG route too, where we don't have, you know what I'm saying, a proper number 9. I think we could cook some teams. I don't know if you guys remember the game against Real Betis in the Copa del Rey. Dani Olmo was the false 9. Raphinha and Lamine Yamal pushed a bit forward, and we destroyed them. We won 5-1, and it looked sick. So, I mean, that is an option, bro. I can't lie.
Yeah, honestly, my thoughts is like, okay, so some people are saying on the chat, like, guys, please like the stream. There is 64 of you. There's about 25 likes. If you guys can like the stream, that really
I have
would
a
help
thought
us.
on this too, real before I
Go
forget.
ahead.
And I know this is just me throwing bullshit out, right?
Mhm.
We know how incredible Pedri and Frankie are at those 2 holding positions. Best in the world, arguably. What if at times they had one holding midfielder, either just Pedri or just Frankie, and then they had Raphinha play as one of those other midfielders next to Dani Olmo as maybe like a right center, left center? Would that potentially work or no?
No, I don't think so.
That would be that would be insane. Like I want to see it, but oh my gosh,
It's
You
not
know what it
defensive
is?
enough.
No, it's just that Raphinha, even though like the guy tracks back, it's just like something is like defensive awareness. Like for example,
No, for sure.
like
Hello.
Frankie De Jong, for example, big up NJ, bro. What's
Hello.
it called? Like even Frankie De Jong, like we question his defensive awareness, and like Raphinha, if he's playing center mid, like it just I don't think it works. But I do want to add this. I think the only guy that might not like this transfer of Nico coming because of how everybody's roles and minutes would decrease is actually going to be Fermin Lopez, because I feel like that we've spoken about Dani Olmo, right? We've spoken about Nico, right? Like I don't know how much longer Fermin. Like I don't know. Do we sell him at this point? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys saw this. Chelsea wanted to buy him for 70 million, even offered Nkunku for him. I don't want Nkunku. The guy's injured every single
No,
match.
I don't want him either.
But you do have to think about this. Everyone's so tied to Barcelona players. They have, and I get it, but sometimes you have to use it as a business proposition. If you bring in Nico, you have Olmo and Raphinha that can play in that spot. And now Fermin, who out of those 3 is the number 3 option on that team. Why would you not consider selling him for 70, 80 million and free up funds and maybe go for another position or fund Nico and Grimaldo?
That's
you know,
that's
yeah,
the thing. Yeah, no, that's the thing with Barca sometimes, and it frustrates me a little bit when it comes to Real Madrid, because I feel like Real Madrid is great at making the best moves for the team, not just for the players. I think Barca gets really attached to certain players, like in this instance, right? We all know that Barca will be a better team if Lewandowski is not starting for the team, and if we have Raphinha as a number 9, if we have Dani Olmo as a number 10, and we have Nico Williams on the left and Lamine Yamal on the right, to me, that is a crazy lineup up top. And Barca just won't do it.
You know where it is also, bro? Like, I actually, if we get Nico and like we do a Raphinha at the 10, I'm not going to lie. I feel like it would be best if we have Pedri. And I know we love Bernal and all, but I would say the best profile would be if you're running 4 attackers legitimately. It would be Pedri and like an Amadou Onana or like a defensive destroyer type of defensive mid, because that's a lot of attack going forward and you're going to need legs behind it. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point, because we don't really, out of Frankie and Pedri, they're not like a very defensive player, right? They're not making those tackles, and I think that's necessary.
You got Gavi.
But here, I want to talk about Gavi too. I was going to bring that up. What does his future look like, right? Because you got Pedri and Frankie who are going to start every match basically, and you got Casado and Bernal and Gavi. Do you think he gets a little frustrated with his lack of playing time?
He could sometimes, but he knows that he's not the same level as Pedri, and stuff like that. So he's okay with being like a super sub role. Like he can play anywhere, anyways. He's okay
Yeah,
with it.
it's Neil Garner said this on Twitter today, I think, or was it yesterday, where he said, "What would be the big Barca that you would let go?" And it's interesting that you bring up the point of Gavi, because I think Gavi, if there's a player that we could sell, I would say, like, a lot of people are not gonna like this. No, don't want to hear it because he's a La Masia player. He's
Yep.
an outstanding character. He's a great guy to have in the locker room. But to me, unquestionably, it would be, if I have to give away somebody, it would have to be Gavi. But
Yeah.
what about Fermin? Because Fermin has been linked with Chelsea. There's a few things that I want to get you, Gary. I want to ask you first, and then I'll hear Jonas and NJ. But I want to ask you: would you sell Fermin for 70? And if not, where's the line from Fermin to be sold?
I would sell Fermin over Gavi. Reason being, I think
Oh,
Gavi just gives you something on the pitch that the only other player does is Raphinha. He plays for the badge. He wants to win. He'll make tackles. I think that speaks a lot in itself. I don't know how much you would get for Gavi. I would like to say 80 to 90, maybe 100. I have no idea. I just think if you bring in Nico and you have Olmo for another 4 or 5 seasons, you have Raphinha, I don't see Fermin playing much, whereas Pedri is consistent as he was last season. He has a history of getting injured. You have to keep that in mind. Gavi can play that position. Frankie de Jong does get injured here and there. It's something to keep in mind. It's a tough call. Maybe I have a soft spot for Gavi. What do you guys think?
nah, you know where it is, bro. Like I just think that if we're being real, like in Hansi Flick's system, I just believe that Gavi does not have a definitive role, right? Compared to Fermin. Fermin is the number 10. The problem is that if this transfer happens of Nico or whoever left winger, there's a real chance of him being the third choice center attacking mid, right? And I don't know if he would accept that. So that's the case to sell Fermin for also 70 million is a lot of money for Barcelona. We don't sell well, guys. Whenever we want to sell a player and we list them for 50, we get 20. Like that's just the truth about it, right? So it's the truth. It's the harsh reality.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, no, but this is the case. This is the case for Fermin staying. Fermin fits in the Hansi Flick system. It's just that would he accept a lesser role? Gavi, I don't know if he fits, and the only way I could see Gavi staying long term would actually be if he's like a role player that's like the 17th, 18th guy. You know what I'm saying, on the
I
roster.
think he's okay with it though.
I think he's okay with it.
Because again,
but
like not every player is a world class.
I'm gonna be honest.
They know their role.
This is the one thing though. Like if you give me like 50 million for Gavi, 60 million, I'll probably take it.
Yeah. I would.
So one other thing that I want to bring up is Rashford from Alone. So the Rashford thing, right? Some people have been saying that Rashford is better than Nico, but to me, I think that's crazy, especially because of age, right? So if you're talking about like a player who can come in and play for you for the next 4 or 5 years, and you can still sell that asset, to me, that's invaluable. But what are you guys saying as far as Rashford? Do you guys think that Rashford? What do you guys think that Rashford could offer Barca, and if Barca should have gone for him? What do you guys think?
He's a direct play in his speed. That's basically like Nico Williams, basically, but just like older version of it.
I think for him too, it could be beneficial if his salary is low because he would come in knowing he doesn't need to start. It's more depth, and he can play as a striker. He can play a number 9.
Exactly,
he can play a winger. He would be fine with not starting, which I think actually gives the team a little more comfortability. Whereas when you bring in Nico, I feel like he's going to start. He's not going to be a sub.
Yeah. So, Omar, what are your thoughts on Nico Williams, man? These news that are breaking. And by the way, I'm introducing you guys to my guy Garrett here, who came on my live stream today.
I've been watching.
What's up, brothers?
Yo, we got great. Listen, man, it's actually I'm actually finally glad to meet you because I actually been following your stuff for a while. And
oh, nice, man.
So yeah, listen. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna definitely reach out to you because I do want us to do some content for sure. Because I do actually like the stuff that you put out, right? And we'll definitely talk. But as far as this Nico Williams thing, let's get into topic. Nico Williams.
Big news. Big news.
Now, let me just say this, right? I'm all for this move. I'm not against it at all. I think that, last season he was our primary target. Let's be honest, right? We wanted to do that Yamal, Nico Williams partnership because we saw how well it worked in the Euros. We've seen how well it worked in the Nations League, right? And system-wise, I think that he would not take too long to learn to adjust to the system under the Flick system, right? And to know that he's at this point now where he's so desperate for the move. He wants this move. He's willing to do anything. He's willing to take with here and there. He's willing to take pay cuts. He's willing to do so many things because he's that desperate for the move. For me, the way I see it is like this: we can't make the mistake we made last summer. Last summer under Deco, we spent so much time focusing on our primary target, which was ironically Nico Williams, right? We spent the whole summer, the whole 2 months in the transfer window, focusing on that move. We didn't go out trying to work on the positions like the fullbacks, trying to get us a winger, trying to get us maybe, I don't know, attacking midfielder, which Omo was available at the time, and he was actually open to come in. We spent the first month trying to sign Nico Williams when he made it adamantly clear he wasn't going to leave. He wanted to stay because he wanted to stay with Bilbao to try to win the Europa League and maybe then move the following summer. We didn't do that. Deco insisted that Nico Williams was going to come in the summer, and as a result, by the time we were in the last month of the transfer window, he was so desperate and the fans were so angry at the time because we hadn't signed anyone. He ended up just changing his mind and then focusing on the Omo deal because that deal moved fast.
Yeah, that's a great point.
We cannot, and we must not make the same mistake again. Because this Luis Diaz thing, clearly he wants to come, but clearly Liverpool are playing hardball with us, right? And we have to move because we have so many other positions we got to work on. So
for sure.
If Liverpool, if we're going for a move for him and Liverpool's are insisting that we have to pay the 80, then we got to move on and then just deal with the Nico Williams thing then, since that is going to be a quick move. Right?
Facts.
Get it done. Get that move done. Right? Get Nico Williams in. We have a goalkeeper. We have a winger. Now we've got two of our positions that we needed to fixed already. Right? Now we go get us a fullback like we need to. Get some fullback.
You're right, because if this keeps getting delayed, it changes Barcelona's plans. They might have somebody else in mind that they want to get, but Nico's kind of playing with us. So you're right. If they want to sign him, do it now, get it done, and you focus on the next option.
Because we have so many other positions we had to work on. You've seen last season, the things that hurt us. I mean, we had a great season last season, but if you look at like some of the positions that were the position we needed to fix in the summer of last year, it kind of hurt us at the tail end of the season, right? When we had injuries in the fullback positions and we had to deal with Martin and Hector Ford, and we ended up playing Eric Garcia out in the fullback, who actually did a good job over there. You've seen, how we've needed to deal with the goalkeeping situation for a while. And let's be real, right? Fair play to Chesney. Came in, he did a job, but Chesney is a retired guy. He's only here for vibes, right? I'm glad we were able to bring in a goalkeeper already, right? But now we gotta move fast. For me, the dream is let's get all these targets we need before preseason starts. That way, the players can start playing with the team during preseason, right? We don't have to worry about it.
From what I'm looking at, it's that Nico Williams wants to move fast on this. Like, I guess maybe he was just waiting for the John Garcia saga to be over, because the fact that this breaks on the same day where we pay the release clause for John Garcia and officially John Garcia is joining Barca. Dude, this Barca team can look absolutely scary next season. Like, sometimes we just let it so lightly, but the fact that we can have that kind of lineup and we just, having John Garcia as the starting goalkeeper, that absolutely makes wonders. And
squad depth too.
It's squad depth.
Fermin,
and going and just kind of going back to the goalkeeper position, because Garrett did said something that made me think about in terms of Ter Stegen, because he actually wanted Ter Stegen to be to stay at Barca, but there's no way that Ter Stegen can stay because of his attitude, because of his demands for the team and the salary. There's so many things. To me, I think that the best duo would be Chesney and John Garcia. And now that John Garcia is introduced as the number one, what are you guys' 1 and 2 for Barca?
Hold on. So just because I didn't actually hear this. So Greg, you want Ter Stegen to stay?
So I necessarily didn't say I wanted him to stay. I thought it was interesting that they re-signed Chesney instead of just keeping Ter Stegen. But then Miguel, you made a good point where you said Ter Stegen wants the number one. He won't play
the
number
problem
2.
now. See,
that's the problem.
See, this is the issue that we have here. When it comes to Ter Stegen, he doesn't want to sit on the bench. And
Right.
form-wise, performance-wise, from what we've seen last season and the previous seasons, clearly we've needed a new keeper for a while. Listen, I gave him an opportunity. I was one of the last people to really give up on him, right? Even last season, I was talking to so many Barca fans, and they were all telling me, we got to get a new keeper. Ter Stegen is not the guy anymore. And I was like, listen, you guys are being too harsh. I don't think he's as bad as people think. When I really started to realize, okay, this is not good enough anymore, is when he came back from injury, because he was making the mistakes before his injury, where I was like,
The
man, I don't know
Monaco
what's
match, I almost screamed. I
That's my
screamed. I
point.
punched my
Yeah.
TV.
That is the
Insane.
point.
Ridiculous.
You make mistakes after mistakes. That's a mistake before your injury. You get injured. You're injured for months. You come back, and in your first game against bottom of the league, you make a mistake after 5 minutes. That was the moment I said, "Okay, man,
But you
man,
know
man,
what it
I
is,
tried."
Omar, the thing is that with Ter Stegen, I've already said it, his performance has been decreasing over the years. And then on top of that, you're adding injuries, right? He got a shoulder injury 2 years ago, right? When Inaki Peña played like 15, 20 games. And then now, legitimately this season, the guy had a knee injury. He was out for 7 months. So what make you think that a guy who's becoming injury prone, and on top of it, his performance is already decreasing, and he has an ego. Let's just call it out for what it is. Ter Stegen has an ego, bro. He wants to be the number one, right? This guy's probably thinking, well, I won the UCL. None of you guys have, right? Compared to the rest of the roster. I'd rather get rid of him, bro. I'm going to be
All right.
honest.
So guys, so I want to ask you guys, because we're already 1 hour past, but I want to ask you guys something. So Garrett just posted Araujo or Christensen, because
Christensen.
I know Christensen. I have my thoughts, but I want to let you guys go, because honestly, what I will say is this: Araujo is the youngest player. He's younger than Christensen, but Christensen, to me, is a much better defender. Now, in terms of what the office is going to do, the office seems to have him for sale. And Araujo is gonna. I don't know if Araujo's on the market, but I've heard a couple of rumors for both. But what are you guys' thoughts, and as far as Araujo or Christensen?
Okay, so this is actually this is not actually as easy as many people think it is, because many people are doing like, oh, Christensen. Here's the thing: if I'm just gonna be completely objective on both players, right? I've always said Christensen is Mr. Consistent. The guy never makes mistakes, never. Like this guy's been here now 3 years. This season is probably the only season where he's had injuries, and it's because of injuries, and that's not something I can blame him for, right? Injuries are part of football, right? But this guy has been here 2 years consistently. Never have I watched a game where I was like, Christensen was the worst defender on the pitch. Never. For 2 years, that's how consistent he's been, right? And that's what we need. I don't always need you to have a 10 out of 10. I don't need you to have a 10 out of 10 and a 0 out of 10
He
tomorrow.
played good as a CDM the year before when he had to step up too.
This exactly.
Yeah.
He gives you a 7 or 8 out of 10 max every single
He's
game,
very
even
calm.
when the team doesn't play well. Araujo was one of those defenders for a long time who would give you an 8 and 9 out of 10 every single day, until recently when we played against PSG and he made that howler. And this is the thing: howlers are a part of football, right? Sometimes players have an off day and they have a stinker in certain moments. The issue with Araujo is when the criticism came in, you saw how mentally it hit him, and that for me is that is terrible for a guy who's known as a leader in this team. Leaders usually they take a lot of the brunt when the criticism comes. They're the ones that step up and actually say something. But when he got criticized, it's like mentally that hit him, because you saw how he was reacting to it. He wasn't happy that he was getting criticized. He felt like they were using him as an scapegoat, right? And then you saw how he was acting after he was injured, came back from injury during the new season, right? In January, right? How he was moving, trying to maybe force a move out because he wanted a new contract and everything else. And in my head, I'm just like, listen, man, with all due respect, you have been in a downward spiral since last season. You can't really speak right now. You need to keep your head down, try to play yourself back into the team, give the fans something to believe in, right? And then we can start giving you an opportunity again. The issue is this season under Flick, right? And this is something I'm not shocked about. This is why I'm not even angry, right? See, I knew Araujo would struggle under the Flick system. I knew. I always know. I was like, if there's any defender in our defense who's gonna struggle with the high line, it's gonna be Araujo, because Araujo is not known for being that kind of defender. He's a no-nonsense center back.
To me, Araujo has a higher because he's so younger. Like I've seen Pacho play for PSG, and it drives me crazy that Araujo can't do the things that Pacho does day in and day out. They're the same type of build players. Araujo has a better speed, and Araujo can't do the stuff that Pacho does for whatever reason that is, and that's the most frustrating to me when it comes to Araujo. But Gary, what are your thoughts on that?
I have a lot of thoughts, and I have a soft spot for a lot of Barcelona players, and I don't want to see him leave. But when you make 2 back-to-back huge mistakes against PSG and Inter, you have to think about it. But I will say this: we're looking at football; it's evolving. You can't expect Cabarsi and Christensen to mark Mbappe, Vinicius, and Rodrigo against Real Madrid. Araujo is the only person that can keep up with them pace-wise, and I think in moments like that, it's so hard to look at Araujo and be like, yeah, I don't want him in the squad, because everyone's fast and quick. And against PSG, that would be so frustrating to watch Barcelona's defense without a player like Araujo.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
You know what it is with me, bro? Like, I just think that Ronald Araujo, I fully blame him for the PSG one. Like, that one, a red card, stupid decision, right, to take down Barcola. It's a red card, right? It's a dumb decision. The game to Inter, yes, he made mistakes. He was poor, right? But I just look at our center backs. I'm like, I just don't think Deco and Laporta are going to sign a center back this summer. And I would keep both of them. I mean, if that means selling a different player like we talked about, like Gavi or Fermin, I would be more open to that, just because, bro, I still trust Araujo. I think that the performances in the Spanish Super Cup lock down Mbappe, right? Not on top of that, right? The other El Clasico games, he's done pretty good against Mbappe and these guys. I know Mbappe scored a hat-trick in the last one. Well, he wasn't playing, so like it's not his fault, right? And on top of that, I feel like he was a little bit of a scapegoat. You can say whatever you want, right? But against Inter Milan, if we're being honest, Dani Olmo was one of my favorite players. The guy had a horrible turnover for their first goal. Cabarsi makes a boneheaded mistake, gets away with it, right? And nobody really talking about it. And then
You're right.
On top of that, Lamine Yamal could have went to the corner flag at the end of the game. But listen, if these things don't happen, we don't even talk about Ronald Araujo. That's the truth. So
And that's the thing. Go ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
I just want to say one thing, and these are hypothetical situations. I wouldn't be opposed to finding another outside right back. Reason being is Koundé can play as a center back and is faster than Cabarsi, Inigo Martinez, and Christensen. So I don't know. I think it's an option.
No, for me, it's
but
like
that's
this.
for next year, though.
Yeah, I think that we're not being patient enough with Araujo, and I know he's made a lot of mistakes, and I am kind of with Jonas on this, because I'm looking at Christensen, he's too old. I'm looking at Inigo Martinez, he's too old. Inigo Martinez had an incredible season. I have Inigo Martinez on the starting 11 for the 24-2025 season. So it comes from somebody who thinks he was one of the best CBs this season. But going into next season, those legs can go really fast. And I am a little concerned about having an injury-prone Christensen and an older Inigo Martinez. I think having Araujo there, it's a little bit of an asset next season.
A high line with slow defenders is a nightmare.
Doesn't make sense. Exactly. That's a nightmare. That's what I'm saying. Are you really going to have a guy who's 35-year-old Inigo? With all due respect, I understand he knows it, but any great run and a great pass that's weighted will be legitimately a 35 Inigo. It will happen, especially when the player is named Kylian Mbappe, right? So, in my opinion, what I would do is I'm giving Araujo one more year. Like that's what I can.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
I'm giving it one more chance. And I also want to say the last thing before I let other people speak. I think that the Yaun Garcia signing will lead to less mistakes for Cabarsi and Ronald Araujo, because they probably don't trust the goalkeeper to make a save. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's better, honestly, for the one-on-one to happen. If we concede, who cares? We score all the time. Facts. And guess what? If they miss, nothing happened, right? So I think the goalkeeper proves us.
Yeah, facts.
I remember that I think that Araujo was injured at the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember
yeah.
if it was how long it was, but it took him a little bit of time. Let's remember that too.
He had the surgery.
He hasn't played with Hansi Flick for a full season, so he is still learning the high line. I think that he did made a mistake on that Bastoni. Was it Bastoni? No,
No, Acerbi.
Acerebi, right? Acerebi who
Acerbi.
scored that goal, dude. That was incredibly bad. The fact that he got dribbled by Thuram, it's just these moments, these types of players. And the only reason why I would give Araujo is because of his age. I would give Araujo one more season. I want to give Araujo one more go at it and see if he can be that kind of player. If I am Hansi Flick, I'm having him watch Pacho for 24/7 for the next 3 freaking months of the season, because Pacho is not an outstanding player. He doesn't do anything of note, but he does everything really well, and it's a player who is really focused, and it's a player who is just really it's just the experience, and that's all that Araujo was missing. And we just saw him with Uruguay. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he just made another mistake when he loses a ball and tries to recover it, and then he gets the legs of the player, and it's a penalty kick. It's just once again the same mistakes from Araujo day in and day out.
He just needs to focus. And I know it's but he lets the noise get to his head. I don't know if he gets nervous. He's got all the ability to be a world-class defender, from strength and pace and even dribbling the ball up at times. He's got to focus.
That's the problem, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, it's all good and great being this talented footballer and all of this. But here's the thing. If you mentally have this tendency to switch on and off, that's not reliable. I don't need you. This is the thing. People always say, oh, he's world-class on his day. Listen, I don't care about being world-class on your day. I don't even need you to be world-class. I just need you to be consistent.
Yeah.
If you're
no mistakes.
Yes, no mistake. If you can be mistake-free, if you can give me a 7 out of 10 every single game, if I know that I can rely on you to give me a 7 out of 10 like a Christensen can, I'll take that. The reason you look at someone like Inigo wasn't the best defender in the world last season, but guess what? When we needed him last season, he stepped up. He really did. He really, really did. And that's why I was very impressed with him.
I will say, I feel like our defenders, it's weird because the high line, it's like they had a good season, but they didn't. I think our defense got lucky this season because our attack was so good. We could score 4 or 5 goals a game. So the defense didn't have to have to focus as much, because if they let up 2 goals, we were still winning every match.
Yeah, let me add on to that. Bro, I want to say our defense, like, people are blaming Araujo, and I understand the Inter game, he had a bad game. He came off the bench and had
it's just a moment.
But you know what it is, bro? Honestly, the last 6 weeks of our season, our defense was horrible. Like, legitimately, we conceded 3 to a bad Real Madrid team. We conceded 3
Benfica,
goals.
Dortmund, Inter, Real Madrid. They cannot. If you want to win the Champions League, you cannot let up more than a goal in big matches, and they can't do that.
Facts.
Yeah, so it's not just an Araujo thing; it's a defense. And I think Hansi Flick, he spoke out to the media. He said he's going to fix the defense in the preseason, right? But I mean, listen, I hope he does, because our defense, even outside of Araujo, the games he wasn't playing, we're conceding multiple goals every single game, and you can't do that if you want to win.
That's true. Balde and Koundé were both out against Inter, which did hurt us a lot, I will say.
No, I do strongly believe that if we had Balde in that game, even just Balde, even Koundé, we had him for the first one.
Garcia was good.
Yeah. Garcia has been outstanding to the point that I don't want Barca to go sign a right back, because
no, that I'm gonna say this now, guys. We have to be very careful, because he was only filling in right back for how many games? Like how many games?
2,
right.
3,
three. That's what I'm saying.
But he's played there before.
I know, but we have to see the thing. I'm trying to say.
You can't overthink about it, though.
No, I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not overthinking about it. I'm actually being very, very real here when I say this. We have to be careful whenever we judge players, who are playing out of position, because sometimes that's what happens when players are playing out of position, right? When they play well, people start considering, like, should we maybe give him an opportunity there? Listen. Maybe he might do well over there, but at the end of the day, I don't want to risk it. I would rather just, we go, and if we can get a fullback, get in a natural fullback. You understand what I mean?
Dude, is Kevin Durant going to Miami? Is that
nah,
right?
A
You
rumor.
know what's
It's a
funny? I
rumor.
legit searched that up. I haven't seen nothing.
Yeah, I had to
Okay,
search it up.
I
Nah,
thought
bro.
it was
Nah, nah, nah,
breaking
nah.
or something because
Nah, I had
Don't
to.
listen.
that's
Don't
crazy.
don't listen. Van Lee is
Yeah,
this guy is a whiner, man.
Come on,
He-
man.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
How you
yes,
gonna
yes.
clickbait basketball content on a varsity? You know what I'm saying? Panel show.
That's
Yeah.
all right, man. I watch
It's
some
all right.
basketballs.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
I'm
all right.
totally cool with it. I'm totally cool with it.
Hey,
If
Nah,
Indians
Fabio,
win things, bro.
yeah, he's something else.
Yeah, exactly, man.
guys, we're getting to the end of the show. Honestly, is there anything you guys like to talk about, like, as a last topic? And I think we're just gonna wrap it up because
Who-
I
Who's
think
our next target
60
after Nico Williams?
here, man. Like the stream. I'm trying to get to 40, almost 40 likes. So guys, subscribe to the great show. To subscribe to Jonas, the Barca Reacts, and subscribe to my man Omar. I know NJ doesn't have a YouTube channel, which he probably should.
No, but it's too much work for because I'm working a lot. Then I don't know. I get lazy sometimes, so I'm like, I don't know.
We'll be going live more though. This was fun, so I'm sure we'll be
So
Yeah.
yeah,
doing
great,
this all the
great.
time.
That's so yeah. Backstage, we'll definitely talk because
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
definitely
we
talk.
can talk backstage. It just sort of happened that me and Garrett just jumped on this live stream like an emergency. I had speaking with him, and we were gonna record something for his channel, and then as that was happening, right, we talked about Nico Williams, that stuff that was breaking, and I was like, instead of recording something from my channel, we might as well just go live and see what people are saying about this
Okay.
Nico Williams thing, which is great. Just a closing thought is just, I think that Deco should get a little bit more credit. I know it's frustrating topic,
Yeah.
and I know that some people don't like him. And I've seen some Garrett
Yeah, that guy
videos
right there.
complaining about. I think I've seen some Garrett videos as well complaining about Deco. Am I wrong about that?
Hey, listen.
I've been deco out too, to be fair.
I'm sorry,
but
I'm sorry,
I'm like,
Miguel. Miguel, I'm gonna be objective. What do you want me to be appreciative about? If you can tell me something, maybe I'll try to be.
Okay, so you're
Like
one
Dani
of them.
Olmo?
Okay, so I'll tell you this.
Hmm.
He was able to re-sign most of the La Masia players, and everybody it's on the team, as far as the Kubarsis, as far as the Lamine Yamals, as far as I know. He says a lot of things that gets him in trouble, but at the end of the day, dude, he had a meeting with John Garcia and his girlfriend. And 2 days after, John Garcia was going to Newcastle, bro.
why
John
don't you say
Garcia was
that, bro?
going to Newcastle. And the story was that John Garcia loved the pitch that Deco was throwing at him and said, you know what? I'm coming to Barca 2 days later. So that doesn't give him credit. I don't know what else does when it comes to signings and the people, especially right now. Look, he leaked the stuff about, if we get in a hypothetical world, if we get Nico Williams, I'm giving Deco 10 out of 10 because he leaked the stuff that they were already signing. Dude, they were already signing Luis Diaz, right?
Hold up.
That
Okay,
made
hold
Nico
on.
Williams a little bit more desperate.
Jonas, let him finish.
So
Okay.
that's what I'm going to say. So
Okay.
if that happens, so now Nico Williams wants to sign for a much better team-friendly deal. So that's I'm giving a little bit of credit to Deco, to be honest with you.
Okay. So let me tell you why I'm not gonna give him that credit,
There
Miguel.
you go.
Miguel, you want me to give him credit for doing something obvious? I'm sorry, respectfully. Giving contracts to players like Yamal is a no-brainer. You understand what I mean, right? Like any sporting director with a brain would do that, right? I'm not like, at the end of the day. Let's be clear. Hold on. Let me just.
I'm just
see
gonna
that-
say
let me
this.
just. Let me
It'll
just-
be quick. It'll be quick. So I'll say this. Yamal signed for Jamal's numbers are really, really team friendly. Or would you say no?
Okay, all right, fine.
I thought that Lamine Yamal signed a really, really team-friendly deal. So
No, but
I thought
dude,
Barca guy scored a 10 out of 10 on that Lamine Yamal deal. Am I not right about that?
Bro, hold on. Okay, let me just finish, right? At the end of the day, when you're giving a contract to a player who is open to staying, you can finesse them into getting a good deal out of them. That's the thing. Lamine Yamal was not thinking at any point of leaving Barcelona.
Never.
So he was going to listen to whatever Deco put in the table. And also, that's the thing with Yamal, right? Yamal at his age understands he doesn't need to follow the money. Eventually, bro, Barcelona will start
But it
giving
could
him
have
the
gone
big
longer,
bucks.
though. The
No,
negotiations
but
could have gone really long.
no. But here's the thing, bro. When you're dealing with a contract with a player who wants to stay, who has no idea, who has no plans of leaving. Players like Kobashi, players like Pedri, players like Yamal. These guys are not thinking about.
They're never going
leveling.
anywhere else.
Do you understand what I mean, right? Players that are open to staying are easy to keep. This is what you have to understand, Miguel, right? Players that want to stay, bro, they are very open to making those deals happen. It's players who have their minds to, maybe consider leaving, like Araujo, where he was actually maybe considering moving to Juventus, right? And we gave him a new deal where I'm like, okay, well, yeah, you convinced a guy like that to stay because he actually had other suitors, right? But guys like Pedri, Casado, these are La Masia graduates whose dream is to play for Barcelona's first team. So keeping these players, right? I'm sorry, right? Yes, you can say he should be given credit and all of this. For me, he's just doing the obvious that another agent would have done, right? For me, this is what I'm going to praise Deco for, if I'm going to praise him for anything, is what he does in the transfer window to fix the team. Because that is why we brought him in. Let's be honest. The whole sporting director Monica is for you to go and get us players that are going to make the team better. Right? Not just to keep players. The keep players, that is a necessity. You understand what I mean, right? What you do in the transfer window is what I want to see. Are you going to go get me a left winger? Are you going to go get me some new fullbacks?
Well, he's Nico Williams. So I think we're jumping the gun on him, though.
Hold on, Miguel, but this is the important thing, Miguel. All we are doing here right now is hearsay. This Nico Williams hasn't signed yet.
But Deco got criticized for not going after Nico. We just didn't wait. We were so quick to go judge.
No. So here's the thing, man. I really want you to listen to.
Okay. I understand what you said, but you're saying that he hasn't signed yet. But the story out right now is that Flick already had a meeting with Nico.
Miguel, last season I did the news on my channel. You can go back and check. Last season we were talking to Nico like we're talking to him right now. Do you understand what I mean, right?
Yeah.
The reason why a lot of Barca fans thought that Nico Williams was going to join last season is because we were in advanced talks with him. It was many of us genuinely thought this guy was coming because we had been so advanced in our in talking to him, and then literally from the moment we got to beginning of August, he then threw the bombshell that, oh yeah, I'm going to be staying at Athletic Bilbao because his brother convinced him to stay. See, this is what I want you to understand, bro. Talking and having talks with a player, yes, that's all good and great. We all want to hear that, the club is in contact. That's all fine and good. But I want to know that this contact is going to bring something. I'm not going to give Deco praises now. I'll give him the praises when he's got the deals completed. Do you understand what I mean, right? Once I've seen Nico Williams with a Barcelona shirt, once I see Alex Grimaldo with a Barca shirt, right? Once I see us maybe go and get a right by Raphinha or Vanderson, someone like that, then I can sit there and say, you know what, Deco? You got me what I needed. Fair play to you, right? You got me the keeper I wanted. You got me the winger I wanted. You got me the fullbacks I wanted. But right now, you've only got me a goalkeeper, which is the first thing we need to go and fix. Last season, I gave you a pass. Last season, we needed to fix the whole team, but we only signed one player, and I was like, oh, well, you know what? I'll give you a pass this time around. You understand what I mean, right? This season, I'm not giving you that pass, right? Because this season, we have an easier opportunity to sign players this season than we did last season. So this season, get it done. You understand what I mean?
And also, what are you guys saying as final thoughts here as we're about to wrap up the show?
I do want to say this real quick. If Nico Williams, if it's true that he first contacted Barcelona, and then on top of that, right, we all know Barcelona want him, and apparently he's trying to take a wage deduction to come. Why can't this deal happen quick? Because that means that all parties are agreeing. So,
bro, it's because let's be honest. Can we just be all honest here? Deco's first option is Luis Diaz. That is his first option. That is why we're still gonna be. This is why I'm telling you he cannot make the same mistake he made last season. You understand what I mean, right? Because we know he wants Luis Diaz, but this whole Luis Diaz thing is proving to be harder than it looks. So you've got a player like Nico Williams who's right there. You need to be smart about this, right? If you want to go talk to Liverpool one last time, go talk to them. Then listen, we want to make this deal happen, but we are not moving here. If you guys don't want to move here, then we will just move on.
You know where it is, real quick. I think that if Deco and Laporta truly see Luis Diaz as the player to as a missing piece to win us the UCL, fine. Go for him. You know what I'm saying? One last time, making an ultimatum, give him a week, right? And if he doesn't agree or Liverpool is still trying to play hardball, just go for Nico. The guy wants to come. He's right there. He knows the league. We already know,
Cheaper.
right?
Cheaper, younger.
Cheaper too. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone in the chat, please subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to each. How can people find you guys?
Omar
Anywhere.
BYT, man. Omar
I'm gonna
BYT.
leave everybody in the description, but right now, if somebody was to
Oh
go
yeah, by the way, Miguel, you know the group chat that we're all in, put Greg in there as well, okay? So that way it'll be easier.
what's that?
I'm in there, Omar. I'm
No,
in
the
there.
group, the group chat, right? You
Yep,
know
I'm
the
in
group chat that we have where we
Yeah. He's already there. I already added him, so we can chat
Perfect.
with him and yeah, I already added him, so no worries on that. So we can
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah, as far as my channel, yeah, Omar BYT, guys, do obviously Barcelona content, guys, primarily, but we do other contents as well. We talk about, maybe some other clubs. I do have some other shows. By the way, guys, in an hour from now, I will be doing a live stream, so I will be opening the stream to you guys. So any of you guys who are available to come in, right? It's funny, it's very similar to this one. It's the Nico Williams thing, but I am gonna go into detail about like the whole what the agent, and the club and what Flick and everything else, right? I'm gonna get into detail about it. I will be opening the stream to you guys as well. So Gret, if you want to join, it's an hour from now. So you can come in. Also Miguel, Jonas, all you guys. I'm gonna be obviously talking about all of that, and yeah, some other Barcelona Barcelona news, transfers, everything else. You can find it on Omar BYT.
Yeah, I mean,
What about you, Greg? It's what's the name of your channel? Is it?
It's so it's GRET, but for search
GRET.
terms, it's easier just to provide it to combine it. So GRET, but GRET at GRET FC GRETT FC. If you guys haven't seen me before, I'm actually trying to pursue this and push full time. I've been posting like every single day lately. If you guys have been seeing my content, so it's been great connecting with you guys too, because I'm posting a video. Once Omar sends me the link, I'm gonna edit it, chop it up. It's gonna be live probably in 30 minutes. And then if you guys ever want to make content together, I'll be posting some, we can collab and put out new videos and live. So any Barcelona fans or football fans, we got a lot of cool stuff in the works for you guys. And we appreciate you guys sticking around and watching too. It's been a lot of fun.
All right, man. Thank everyone for watching. A Barca reacts as well. I don't know if you did you give your last words, Jonas?
Yeah. So
Okay.
y'all already know Barca reacts, right? Listen, I mean, it's nice. I already know Omar and Miguel from Barca Volume, so it was nice meeting. What's it called, Greg? But listen, Barca reacts video dropping today. Live, probably emergency live tomorrow. I wasn't even planning, but the Nico, there's so much news with Ter Stegen too. So listen, probably a live tomorrow. And bro, we'll see what happens, bro. More collabs, but it's nice to see the community growing. I can't lie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we love to see it, man.
All right, man. Well, thank you everyone for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next stream. See ya.